Welcome to Champion Minded, the podcast for those who aim for excellence, not only in the sports arena, but in life. My name is Allistair, author, speaker, mindset and performance coach, and my goal is to help you unleash your unlimited potential and provide you with the tools to achieve greatness. Are you ready to become champion minded? Then let's do this. Hey everyone, welcome to the Champion Minded podcast, or welcome back to it. I'm Allistair McCaw. Well, it's actually been a while since I haven't had a guest on the podcast. If you have a look back at the last 10 episodes on the Champion Minded podcast, you'll see I've had 9 or 10 guests on the What It Takes series. I hope you guys have enjoyed those ones. I've had some fantastic guests. Super grateful that we've had the time, obviously during COVID-19. But in this episode, my question to you is, are you thriving or are you just surviving? And I've got 7 ways to help you thrive more with your time, to be more productive, and to make sure that you are accomplishing great things on a daily basis, even during a time like COVID-19. But before we get into those 7 things, guys, I just want to say to you, and I put a tweet out yesterday on at Allistair McCaw on Twitter, and I think it was on my Facebook page as well, Allistair McCaw page. And I said, if you are waking up, especially at the moment, and you're not feeling motivated, you're not feeling energized, you almost feel like it's a groundhog day. I mean, especially if you're not being able to work, or maybe you're having to work from home, which is a massive change as well. Then guys, I want to say this to you right now, you're not alone. There is so much change that's happened in the world, of course, in the last 12, 13, 14 weeks with COVID-19. And if you remember at the beginning, I said, those who are going to thrive are those who are going to be able to adapt more to the situation. And, even though I put out positive stuff out there and hopefully it motivates you and inspires you to be productive, I want to say this, guys, is that I struggle too. I also have days where it's difficult to get going, where I wake up and go, oh, not another day at home, for example. But, when I remind myself of my purpose, when I remind myself of my greater vision, and that is to impact. If you remember, my 2 big words for 2020 were joy and impact. And I'm really glad I chose these, because sometimes when I'm not feeling grateful, when I'm not feeling happy, I remind myself of joy, to look for the things I'm joyful for. So I get back to gratitude, I get back to appreciation, I get back to the people I have in my life that help me through days where I maybe don't feel as motivated. And I know it sounds funny. Here's a guy that writes books on positivity and winning attitudes and so on and so forth. But I want to be realistic with you. I am the same as you. I also get up in the morning and sometimes don't feel like attacking the day. However, and this is why I say a vision and a purpose is so important for your life. It's helped me, take those steps each day to put material out there, to add value to other people's lives, which you can do as well on your social media. It doesn't cost anything to put a positive quote out there, to send a positive message to one of your friends or colleagues, for example. Maybe someone that's you don't even know that well. I mean, just a small little compliment can go so far. But, guys, it is all about adapting, especially in times like these. We don't know how long this is going to go on for. Already we see in 2020 that there's sports events that get canceled each week. There's different regulations, different restrictions. There's so much happening. In fact, this morning was the first time I switched on the news in, probably years. And I switched it off in 30 seconds, and I realized why I don't watch the news in the morning, why I hardly watch any news. Now, that doesn't mean I'm ignorant to what's going on. Of course, I follow Twitter, but I watch my feed. I don't sit and watch the news all day. And I can tell you guys, I just had the TV on for 30 seconds this morning, and I realized why I don't switch it on. Just negativity, just gloom. Yes, I know there's pandemic out there. Yes, I know there's elections coming up, all these things. But when we consume ourselves in them, when we're hearing it all the time, guys, it's really just negative news. I encourage you to wake up each morning, find something positive, start your day in gratitude, Again, have a vision and purpose of why you're getting up, why you're getting out there. I know a lot of you want to impact other people. That's a great enough reason to get up. And even if today you impact one person with a compliment, a phone call, something simple of, hey, just thinking of you. If you need anything, give me a shout. Small little things, guys, kindness. So, but anyway, in today's show, super excited to bring the episode, Are You Thriving or Are You Just Surviving? And I have 7 ways of how you can thrive. So here we go. Number 1, and get some pen and paper, guys. You're going to take some notes here, is staying positive. Okay, easier said than done, especially when things aren't going your way. I know of people who have been furloughed, people who have lost their jobs, people who are struggling right now in their relationships, people that are not able to go to their sports events or their practices. I mean, in the last 10, 11 weeks, I've done, I don't know, probably over 50 Zoom calls with different sports organizations, different clubs around the world, and we are all in the same boat. This is what I like to remind every single one of us, especially right now, you listening to this, is that we're all in the same situation because we're all right now on the same planet. We're all experiencing the same. However, those who are getting ahead, those who are finding the opportunities, are those who are staying positive right now, even through the negativity. You know, when you hear negative news, what is your reaction? Well, I heard negative news this morning and I switched it off. I also try and distance myself from negative, gloomy, pessimistic people. Does it mean that they're not nice people or I don't like them? No, absolutely not. But I just choose to not be around that particular person at that moment or that day, for example. And sometimes I've had to maybe point it out. And here's another thing. Sometimes I haven't even realized that I've been maybe pessimistic or negative myself, and that's why I hang around people who are able to tell me, hey, you're being negative, cut it out, for example. So, the first one is staying positive, especially when things aren't going to plan. And, 2020, I don't think any of us have had our year go to plan or what we envisioned it. However, it is what it is. You can only control the controllables. Okay, you can only follow what our guidelines are right now. So social distancing and wearing a mask, those are controllables. However, we can't control other things, but you can control your attitude. And the first one is keeping positive, staying positive, being around positive people, seeing things in a positive light. So yes, this is an incredibly, let's call it negative situation, this COVID-19. However, I think it's, personally for me, it's been one of my most productive times. I've been able to do a lot of Zoom calls. I've been able to make a lot more connections during this time because most of the time I'm on the road, for example. I've been able to do some projects, especially with Ed Bowers as well. We've put out the Champion Minded online course. We've done 1 or 2 free courses. We've been able to get newsletters going. So it's been an incredibly productive time during these last 10, 12 weeks. Also have done more podcasts than ever. So, I could have also had that choice at the beginning of saying, oh, I can't travel, I can't work, I can't do this. However, my mindset had to be, what can I do? Right? Now, maybe you've read the book Champion Minded, where I said, champions focus on what they can do, not on what they can't do, especially, for example, athletes, when it comes to injuries. Okay, so you've injured your knee. That doesn't mean you can't train. That doesn't mean you can't train your core, your upper body. That means you can't train your mindset, for example. I added it up yesterday, and over the last 12 weeks, I've been able to get almost 400 hours of listening to podcasts, reading, and spending time investing in myself. So I'm looking at around about, I've been doing around about 3 to 4 hours a day of reading, listening to podcasts, investing in myself, and that's equivalent to over 400 hours. And to be honest with you, I would never have that time on a normal, well, we put it in air quotes, normal time, so without the COVID-19. So I've been able to put things into a positive. I hope you have as well. And if you haven't, well, start today. There's no better time to start than right now. Okay, so that's number 1, staying positive. Number 2, collaborating. And collaborating it comes from building relationships. And as I mentioned, I've had a lot of time to build relationships, to nurture relationships. I've had time to reconnect with people I haven't maybe spoken to in a while, old friends, old colleagues. Who knows where that goes in terms of, especially on the work side, of setting up possible collaborating projects in the future, for example. But it starts now. I've got the time to make those phone calls. So right now, I have a goal of at least making 2 contacts a day. And think about that, guys. That's, let's just say 5 days a week. That's 10 new contacts a week. I spoke about having the importance of having mini goals, setting mini goals daily, being productive, feeling accomplished. And those 3, if you remember maybe at the beginning, I think I had a few live Facebook chats where I spoke about have 3 goals per day. Have a physical goal, so get some exercise. Number 2, have a mental goal, mindset goal of investing in yourself, listen to a podcast each day or read 20 minutes, whatever it may be. And the third one was building relationships. Now, again, during this time, I've been able to collaborate with Ed Bowers, who runs a fantastic sports a podcast as well, a guy that gives back to the industry. And we've been able to collaborate with those online courses. And I'm super excited because I feel that we're going to be doing more in the future. There's been a fantastic response, especially people who have inboxed me or sent emails to us thanking us of the impact that it's made during this period. And guys, that for me is the most important thing, to know that I'm making an impact. And I want to say this to you right now, you have that ability as well, okay? It doesn't cost money to make an impact. It doesn't cost money to inspire others. It doesn't cost money to put positive stuff out there, to add value. It's one of my 10 rules of success is add value to the lives of others. So that's number 2, collaboration, building relationships, working together with others. Number 3 is creating opportunities. Now, through one of the best ways I've been able to create opportunities is by adding value to the lives of others. Putting positive messages out there on social media, on Facebook, on Instagram, etc. So here's my approach. I am not thinking, what am I getting? When I meet somebody, I'm not thinking, what am I getting from this person? What can this person do for me? When I put these podcasts out, when I put information out on social media, I'm not thinking, what am I going to get back from this? I'm asking myself, what am I giving others? Again, it's closely linked to my greater vision and purpose. Now, creating opportunities, guys, can happen in so many ways. Again, you've got to build relationships. You've got to take the time. You've got to put in the effort. Like I said, I have 2 goals a day. Opportunities aren't going to come to you, okay? Sitting at home, waiting for your phone to ring, waiting for an email from somebody to offer you something amazing. It's not going to happen, guys. You have to hustle every day if you want to be successful. It doesn't matter what career you're in. It doesn't matter where you live in the world. Is that you have to hustle. You have to put it out there. In fact, guys, it reminds me of a guest I had on the Champion Minded podcast, episode 40 of the Champion Minded podcast. It is. I had Caprio Jackson, and he's an entertainer from Hollywood, an actor. I got to chat to him when he was here in Fort Lauderdale in Florida. And one of the things that really stuck out for me is that he said, to be successful, you have to know how to handle rejection. He said he's been turned down for casting, for advertisements, for gigs. He's been turned down 99 times, and he keeps asking the 100th time. Being a champion in life is about getting knocked down 8 times, getting up 9 times. And that's what Caprio was talking about, is that to create opportunities, if you're someone that's, somebody closes the door on you and go, well, I mustn't be that good, or I don't have the tools, or I'm not going to succeed, or I'm not good looking enough, or I don't have enough money. All these excuses we make to ourselves. Caprio said on the podcast, you have to hustle. You have to learn to have rejection, even if 500 people turn you down. Go and knock door number 501. Okay, that's what I mean about hustling and creating opportunities. They're not going to come to you. Number 4 is adapting. We spoke about that earlier on in the podcast, in this episode. Is that those who are thriving are adapting to the situation. We can only control what we can control, guys. It's a pandemic. It's a serious situation. We're obviously trying to get the numbers down. Some of these crazy images I just saw. I think it was from Bournemouth yesterday in the UK. They had great weather, and we have 30,000 people on the beach. That is not going to help the numbers. I get here in America as well. I see gatherings, and I get it. The protests are incredibly important for a good reason. However, it's not helping the pandemic. But guys, we need to adapt to the situation. We need to adapt if we're going to thrive. It is what it is. If you're stuck on bad news, if you're stuck on problems, you're not going to move forward. Remember, the most successful people are able to come up with solutions faster. Adapting in relationships right now. Some of us have to be at home with loved ones that we're maybe not used to spending as much time with, or some of us are away from our loved ones, which is more difficult. For example, we have to adapt to our work environment. We can't go into our usual workplace. We can't go to where we usually practice, or to the gym, or to the swimming pool, or whatever it may be. We've had to adapt it to working from home, for example. So all these small things, again, the quicker you can adapt, the more successful you'll be. Another area, especially for myself, where I've had to adapt is with technology. And again, it's been a positive time to learn things that I probably wouldn't have learned if this didn't happen, to be honest. So many things. Actually, I've just finished the recording for the Champion Minded audiobook, guys. So if you don't like reading, no problem. The audiobook will be coming out very, very soon. Right now, we're at the end of June. I would say middle of July 2020. The audiobook should be out. That'll obviously be on Audible platform. So these are things that I've adapted and to the positive effect, to thrive and not just survive. Let me say this. Thriving or surviving comes down to an attitude. The attitude you choose. Are you going to survive, or are you going to thrive and use this time to a positive advantage? Number 5 out of our 7 things, if you're thriving or surviving, is helping others. And this is closely linked to adding value to others. Now, there's a lot of depression. There's a lot of things going on in the world right now because of this pandemic. And one of the things that helped me in my life when I was suffering from depression in the early 2000s was going out to help others. Because we sometimes become so consumed with ourselves. We're thinking about ourselves all the time, pity ourselves because things aren't going to the way we planned, the plans we had, and 2020 definitely disrupted those plans. But is helping others. How often do you reach out to others and say, is there anything I can do for you? Is there anything I can help you with? Colleagues, family, neighbors, for example. That's another advantage. I live in a community here where, I'll be honest with you, I know my neighbors, which is pretty cool, but I didn't know them as well as I do now because we've been coming together as a community. For example, past my neighbor the other day. I'm going to the store. Can I get them anything from the grocery store? My other neighbor made me lunch the other day. So all these incredible things that probably wouldn't have happened if I wasn't at home. So, helping others, guys, kindness. If you're in a sports team, for example, when last did you call a teammate to see how they're doing, to connect with them personally? Maybe you've had a Zoom meeting with them. That's fine, but remember to connect on a personal basis as well. It shows that you really care. Community right now. There's a lot of places that need help. Dog shelters, for example, or the homeless. There's so many areas in which you can help because we have, most of us have a little bit more time than normal. So maybe these are areas that you could look into. I'm sure in your community there is, something on the internet, or you have a local newspaper, for example, where you can see where people might need some help. So that was number 5, was helping others. Number 6 is investing in yourself. Guys, again, I've been able to get over 400 hours of investing in myself over the last 12 weeks. It's been one of the most productive times. I've had daily goals. I've been intentional about it. And this is something I keep writing about in my books. I keep speaking about it on podcasts, especially when we ask my guests, how are you investing in yourselves? And I want to ask you purposefully right now, how are you investing in yourself daily? Well, I can say this, and I have to acknowledge you because the fact that you're listening to this podcast means that you're investing in yourself. So, tip of the hat to you guys. Well done. But are you investing in yourself physically? Are you investing in your relationships, as I mentioned? Are you maybe getting 20 minutes of reading in? All these things are going to help you become a better person. Remember that health is wealth, so the more healthier you're becoming, the more you're taking care of your wellness, that will help you in your career, that will help you in your relationships. There's so many areas that you can invest yourself in. Again, those 3 daily goals I gave were exercise, mindset, and relationships. Invest in those things daily. And the last one, guys, number 7, track your progress. Okay, I encourage athletes to do this, but no matter what you're doing, be it in business, be it in corporate, whatever it is, track your progress daily. This is one way where you're able to monitor how productive you're becoming, how accomplished you're becoming. Like I said, there's no better feeling than setting some mini goals for the day, and at the end of the day, putting your head on the pillow and knowing that you achieved those goals, for example. Just like an athlete tracks their progress, what they did that day in their training, how they felt, I encourage you to do the same, to journal your thoughts, to journal your ideas, to journal what you achieved that day. And there's no better feeling than seeing it written down on paper. This is something I do. This is something that's helped my confidence. This is something that's helped me become more productive. Because do you ever have days, and especially right now, where you're thinking to yourself, what did I actually get done today? What did I achieve today? And when I'm able to write these things down, okay, I did some writing, I had some exercise, I went to the store to get some groceries, I had to stop by the bank. I write all these things down even though they may be small things, and then I see at the end of the day, wow, I actually achieved a lot today. Even though my circumstances are I can't do my normal work, I'm not traveling, I'm not consulting face to face. However, I'm able to still achieve these things of exercise, of making phone calls, of being on Zoom calls, of being productive. And again, you have to make it happen. You have to be proactive. Things aren't going to come to you. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is sending you that incredible offer or contract if you haven't done the work first. And I encourage you, take pen and paper, write things down. Write some mini goals daily. Remember, win the day. Okay, if you subscribe to my newsletter, you might have seen it on my website, is Win the Day, guys, where you're able to achieve the small things today that add up to greater successes later. So I encourage you to do that. So here we go again. The 7 ways to thrive and not just survive. Number 1, staying positive. Number 2, collaborating. Number 3, creating opportunities. Number 4, adapting. Number 5, helping others, adding value. Number 6, investing in yourself. And number 7, track your progress. So there you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. Remember, this podcast is available on iTunes and on YouTube. Connect with me on social media, on Twitter at Allistair McCall, on Facebook, Allistair McCall page, and on Instagram, Be Champion Minded. Also, visit my website, allistairmccaw.com. You'll find on there my courses. You'll find other material like the podcast, for example, books, and way more information. So, guys, I encourage you to thrive, not just survive. Remember, it's in your hands. You've got to make it happen. As always, you were made for greatness. Now go do the work. Stay champion-minded.